Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for coming along to this workshop. I am so excited to reconnect with everybody because I am coming across some very cool individuals and made the decision to come along to this workshop and potentially take their training to the next level and take away some insights that are really going to help them out. So I just want to say I am super excited to reconnect with every single one of you. I've had a bit of a journey with every single one of you. It's been fantastic to get to know you. And over the course of today and tomorrow, we're really going to get to know each other on a deeper level. It's going to be a fantastic 2 days. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make some connections. We're going to ponder some thoughts and some insights. And we are essentially going to equip ourselves with the tools and tactics to become even better trainers and presenters. Now, this show today and tomorrow is all about you guys, right? It's all about you guys learning what you want to learn in regards to training and presenting and taking your results to the next level. So on that note, though, for me, wherever you guys are already at with your training is totally fine, whether you're first starting out or you're getting into this workshop as a bit of a seasoned professional. That's all good, right? And also, whether you've read my book or not, it's totally fine wherever you are coming in. And I've had the privilege and honor of working with many of you already. And I know, based on our conversations, you guys are already pretty amazing presenters, which is pretty cool, right? So having said that, over today and tomorrow, you're going to walk away with the skills to become even more engaging, even more memorable, and even more skillful in how you deliver training, which is super exciting, right? Now, before we go any further, I do want to just set up some quick protocols for how we're going to run the event and Zoom protocol. So you may want to write some of these down. You may not. It's totally fine. I'm just going to quickly go through them. So number one is know where the nearest exit is and run if you have to. What I simply mean by that is if something goes wrong, something happens where you are and you need to deal with an emergency, just go ahead and deal with it and run out the appropriate door, right? Number two is make sure you are set up ergonomically, regularly stand up and move around during breaks. We're going to take lots of breaks through today and tomorrow. And number three, come back from breaks on time. And the comeback time will always be in the chat box, so you'll know exactly when to come back. Number four is stay muted unless you are speaking or sharing. Number five is distractions. Ideally, minimize distractions around you and turn your phone on vibrate if you can. But I appreciate that you've all got lives that you're also living as you're traveling through today and tomorrow. But if you can minimize distractions, that would be fantastic. Number six, ask questions. Now, number six is really important one. We want to set up a protocol that is totally fine to ask questions at the appropriate times. But the way that we're going to do that is if you can drop a Q in the chat, that would be great. So let's everybody practice that right now. So everyone, can you drop a Q in the chat for me there? Drop a Q in the chat. Excellent. Great to see those cues coming through there. And let's also practice a C. Everyone drop a C in the chat for me. Drop a C. C stands for comment, right? So anytime I'm presenting and you'd love to add to the conversation, go ahead, drop a C and we'll come over to you. And T, a final one there. T relates to time. So everyone, let's practice. Drop a T in the chat there for time. Fantastic. So that if you ever drop a T, that'll just tell me you need, 2 or 3 minutes to just finalize a task or, to turn to a page in the manual or anything like that. So we got Q, C, and T. Let's just practice this one more time. If you got a question, drop a Q. So everyone, drop a Q in the chat box there for me now, just to lock in that habit, that protocol. Fantastic. And I find that works really well. And that allows me to be sharing, be speaking, and not have someone accidentally unmute themselves and say, oh, I've got a question, right? So it works really well. So number 7 is if you're going to step away, just out of courtesy, please drop a message in the chat and just let me know that you're stepping away. Just out of courtesy, because I may not always see you not there, if that makes sense, right? So just out of courtesy, just let me know if you're dealing with something or you've got to step away for any reason there. Number 8, excuse people's typos. If I make a typo or somebody else makes a typo, just take a deep breath and go, it will be okay. And just appreciate in the moment we may spell creatively, if that makes sense. Number 9, collaborate, give grace, and remember, nobody gets left behind. Everyone, drop a G for grace into the chat box there for me, please. Drop a G for grace. Awesome. So the thing is, folks, over today and tomorrow, you may do something that you've never done before. Guaranteed you will. And in that moment, you may have a moment of vulnerability, or somebody else may have a moment of vulnerability, or the tech issues or the tech may let us down. If that happens, just take a deep breath and go, it'll be okay, right? So know that you're in a very safe environment and no one gets left behind is our motto. And we are here to support everybody and make it a really great learning environment, world-class learning environment. If you're willing to play by these protocols, everyone drop a P for protocols in the chat box there for me if you could, please. That would be fantastic, fantastic. Awesome. On that note, what we want to do is what I consider a shout out. All right. Now, not yet, but in a moment, we're going to get to know who's in the room today and essentially get to know each other a little bit. Now, this is a shout out. So not yet, but in a moment, each of you are going to unmute yourself. You're going to tell us your full name. And that would sound like, my name is Bill Smith. Obviously, not Bill Smith, right? But my name is Bill Smith. You're going to tell us where you are. So if you're in Melbourne, you'd say, I'm in Melbourne, or I'm in Perth, wherever it may be. Lastly, I'd love you to tell us what industry you currently work in or train in, right? So the kind of industry that you would deliver most of your training in, that would be fantastic, right? And if you deliver training in multiple areas, that's fine. Tell us that as well. So let's go ahead. We're going to kick it off with Craig. Then we're going to Vanessa. Then we're going to Marianne and Bill and Frank, and we'll go in that order there. So not yet, but in a moment, Craig's going to unmute himself. He's going to tell us his full name, where he is, and the industries he delivers training in, or the topics that he delivers training on. On that note, over to you, Craig. Please unmute yourself and tell us those details. Fantastic. Awesome, Craig. Thank you so much. All right, over to Vanessa. Over to you. All right, Mary, over to you. All right, excellent. And finally, Frank, over to you. All righty, folks, thank you so much for sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop in a nice to meet you into the chat there. And everyone drop a nice to meet you into the chat. Drop a nice to meet you in the chat. And let's create some connections there, folks. Now, next thing we're going to do another shout out. And essentially, it's going to be a very small snippet of information. And what I'd love you to do is share with us in your free time, on your weekends, so to speak, what is potentially a pastime or a hobby that you love to do, or something that you're a little bit passionate about? So for me, if I was going to say it, it'd probably be martial arts, right? So I absolutely love doing martial arts. If you've been around with me, I've maybe talked about this topic previously, but one thing I absolutely love to do is martial arts. Now, some other people that answer this question, they may say, I love gardening. Okay, cool. Or some other people may say, I love collecting stamps, right? And that may be something that excites people. Or it could be, I love going to the movies, or I love photography. Could be anything at all. So not yet, but in a moment, Craig's going to unmute himself and he's simply going to share with the crew here what's one thing he loves to do in his free time. And ideally, as we do this, if you all can just pick a topic other than spending time with family, just because we are going to use this thing later on today. So we just want to pick something that is a hobby or a pastime. So on that note, all I love you to do, unmute yourself and say, yep, for me, I love to do X in my free time. On that note, Craig, over to you. What's something you love to do in your free time? Excellent. Mary, over to you. What's something you love to do in your free time? Excellent, excellent, excellent. And Mary, Frank, over to you. Bill, over to you. Daniel, over to you. Love it, team. Love it, love it, love it. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really appreciate it. So on that note, let's come back to our slides for just a moment. And one thing I always love to do with my audiences is check in on the visuals. So everyone, can you drop a yes in the chat if you can see the slide that says Zoom protocols? Can you all see that? Excellent. Drop a yes in the chat. Fantastic, right? So on that note, something I did recently just for fun is I Googled myself, right? I Googled who is Mark Miles and, what is Mark Miles, right? And apparently there is a Hollywood actor called Mark Miles, right? Which I found was quite interesting. But anyway, so here's the deal, folks. I've gotten to know a lot of you at quite a bit of a deep level, right? And throughout today and tomorrow, we're really going to get to know each other, and it's going to be fantastic. But in today and tomorrow, I'm going to reveal some stuff at a deeper, more raw and authentic level than probably I share in any other courses. And this is simply the nature of this course. We're going to dive deep. Everyone, drop a D for deep into the chat box there for me, please. All right. So we're going to really get to know each other in a safe manner, of course. But for me, this course is a very personal one for me. And for me, this whole creating transformation book and workshop is very personal to me. And many of you probably know portions of my story, but now I'd love to give you the even bigger and fuller picture of where I've come from and the journey I've actually been on, if that's okay with you. So as many of you would know, born in Melbourne, grew up on the Gold Coast, and after university, I went and lived in Japan for 7 years. Long time and certainly a big growth experience. But there was two jobs in my life I never wanted to do. One was be a waiter and one was be a teacher. What happened? The first job I got was become a waiter. Second job, become a teacher, right? It was just by happenstance. But then found myself as a teacher and actually found that I had a passion for teaching, which was really cool. All right. I loved helping people. And then I got to a stage where I actually was training the other teachers how to teach. And I would sit in the booth, with headphones on 2 or 3 times a week, and I would listen to other teachers teach. And then I would sit down and give them feedback on how they can make their sessions even better. Right. So then came back to Australia and I ended up lecturing at a university. But the thing is, I will never, ever, ever forget day one of that university. I walked into the lecture hall, and if you had been with me at the time, you would have seen a bit of a cocky person walk in and, all dressed up. But by the end of the session, you probably saw me walking out very despondent, very full of self-doubt, because I suddenly realized nothing I did in Japan worked in that environment. And because I had all these different learners and students from all these different countries I'd never come across before. I had people from Greece, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Korea, all these different countries, and they were brand new types of learners or participants, and I had no idea how to motivate them, how to engage them, and how to get them excited to learn. But I realized if I was going to keep that role, that job, I had to make some changes, right? So during my time there, I thought, I know, I'd love to become a corporate trainer. That would be the next best thing for me. So someone said to me, yes, but do you have your TAA? I said, what's that? Never heard of it. And my colleague at the time said, well, you've got to get this magic piece of paper. So I said, okay, sign me up. And so I went off to TAFE, and it was TAFE at the time, and it was a 6-month long course. And basically it was 2 nights a week over that 6 months. And long story short, I came out of that course a little bit surprised, a little bit despondent, and a little bit disappointed, if I'm completely honest. Because as an experienced teacher at the time, I was looking for the tactics on how do we actually train people. But in that course, we didn't really learn much about delivery at all. And afterwards, I'm like, something's wrong here. And I made a decision, and I decided that I want to go out and really understand training at the deepest level. So a couple of months passed, and I actually had a relationship breakdown, right? And it just so happened at the time I was also a sales coach, and somebody within my entrepreneurial network became a coach for me, and she was an NLP coach. And she said, Mark, I'll help you through this breakthrough and through this relationship challenge that you've got. But as part of it, I really want you to attend this seminar that's happening this weekend. And I'm like, no, I'm all good. She's like, Mark, this is a ticket. You have to, if I'm going to be honest, go along to this seminar. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then she said the magic words. She said, Mark, how much is your life worth? And when she said those words, it really hit my heart. And she said, how much is your life worth? I'm like, okay, fine. I went along to this seminar. It was up in Brisbane and it was called Breakthrough to Success. Breakthrough to Success. And I went along to that seminar and there was probably about maybe 500 people in this huge auditorium, the Brisbane Exhibition Centre. And my scope and I guess realm of reality, my view of reality completely expanded as I saw somebody on stage delivering content in such a mesmerizing and captivating way that I'd never ever seen before. And it was in that moment that I thought, I want to be and do just like that gentleman on stage right now. And I thought, how do I do that? And after he taught, at the end, he made an offer and he said, sign up for this public speaking course. And in that moment, I couldn't afford it, but I made a decision that when I could afford it, I would sign up. I went back a couple of months later and did the seminar again, signed up, and basically attended a 9-day public speaking course. And it was at that course that I learned so many great things that really transformed me as a trainer, as a presenter. And it led me on the path to do a number of other public speaking courses. And I started even running my own public speaking courses as well. However, along the way, I did join a training company in RTO, and we were able to take that RTO from a very small company to a very large company. And I had the honor and privilege of traveling all around Australia, equipping and empowering up and coming trainers with some of the knowledge that you'll find in the book and that you'll read about in the book there. Right? So I'm pretty pleased with the book. It's a great legacy item. And it's awesome to be able to pass on that knowledge to up and coming trainers or even experienced trainers, right? So that's a little bit about my journey and sort of where I've come from and my journey. Having said that, I never stop learning. And, every weekend I'm still listening to podcasts, I'm still re-attending workshops and still reviewing the materials I've already gone through in other courses as well. So that's a little bit about me, but not yet. But in a moment, we're going to have a chat, and I'd love to find out for you personally, who is someone that really stands out as a great trainer or public speaker? So not yet, but in a moment, you're actually going to head to a breakout room. And what that simply means is you're going to head into a room with another person. And all I'd love you to do is simply share, what's your name? So, hey, how you going? My name's Bill. What's your name? Mary. Fantastic. So who is a public speaker that really comes to mind and why is it for you? Well, for me, it's this person because of these reasons, right? And then just swap back and forth. So not yet, but in a moment, you get into a breakout room. And all I'd love you to do is share with your partner, who is a great public speaker that comes to mind and why in particular? All right. So I'll give you about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Simply share that information with each other, and then I will bring you back very shortly. If we have any tech issues with going to breakout rooms or anything like that, that's okay. We will definitely work through it. On that note, folks, head to your rooms, simply share who is it and why particularly that person. On that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So let's hear from some people. Let's hear from some people. And let's come over to Mary. Mary, who was it for you and why in particular? Beautiful. And Vanessa, who was it for you and why in particular? Excellent. Craig, who was it for you and why in particular? Excellent. Fantastic. Right. And Frank, who was it and why in particular? Love it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, every when we do something, we also want to make sure that we acknowledge contributions because I'm fully aware that it can be quite daunting to actually share an idea or a concept with other people in the room. So we want to acknowledge all of those contributions there. So everyone drop a GJ in the chat there for great job with the sharing. Everyone drop a GJ in the chat. Fantastic. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing those ideas. Now, next thing we want to do, though, is we want to set our direction, And we want to think about what do we actually want to take away from the next 2 days, right? So I'd love you to grab your manuals and I'd love you to open up to page 4 in your manuals. And on page 4 in your manuals there, you are going to essentially see some pages where we're going to set some goals, right? Now, the first section up the top there is about what do you want your tomorrow to look like in regards to training? So that may look like, okay, I want my learners even more excited to learn, or I want my students that are asleep to wake up, right? Or I want to have even more confidence, right? Whatever it is for you. What do you want your tomorrow to look like if you could wave a magic wand? Okay. Now, the second part of it there is what are 3 things you would love to learn from this course? All right. And then the last part there is what's the biggest thing that you brought you along to this workshop? What's the biggest thing that you made the decision to enroll? All right. Fantastic. But with this, what we're going to do, we're going to head to a breakout room individually. And I'd love you to spend about 3 to 5 minutes just answering these questions. Then I'm going to bring you back and I'd love you to share in another breakout room with another person what you've just written down. So you're going to have time to just think there and ponder, write down your answers, and then share with a partner. So on that note, let's head to our rooms. And it's going to be page 4 in our manuals. Hopefully that is the case there. On that note, let's head to our breakout rooms and let's get our thoughts on paper. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Right. So let's hear from some people. Let's go over to Mary. Mary, what I'd love you to do is describe your tomorrow in regards to training. What would you love to create if you had a magic wand? And I mean, if I was going to answer it, I would say magic wand. I could create an experience where everybody gives me a thunderous round of applause. They love it. They turn up on time. They're excited to be there. That would be my magic wand. What would your tomorrow look like, Mary? Fantastic, Mary. Everyone drop a GJ in the chat. Great share from Mary there. Love it. All right, Craig, over to you. What would your magic wand do for you? Excellent. Love it. All right, cool. Frank, over to you. What does your tomorrow look like? Excellent. Bill, what does your tomorrow look like? Awesome. And Sally, what's your big tomorrow look like? Fantastic, fantastic. So everyone drop a GJ in the chat for all of those shares. Love it. So what I'd love you to do now is we're going to move down to question 2 there. I'd love you to drop in the chat your 3 things that you would love to learn, that you would love to learn from today and tomorrow. Just drop in the chat. What are your 3 things? Awesome, folks. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really appreciate it. So, on that note, I do want to just sort of share with you where this workshop comes from. I'm going to give you the very abridged version, but for me, I would have to say, I don't know about you, but public speaking was never really my cup of tea. Drop a yes in the chat if you've ever struggled with public speaking or it's not really been something you've loved when you first started out, or maybe you still to this day get a little bit nervous when you public speak. Drop a yes in the chat if you can associate or you kind of feel that, right? Excellent. So for me, it was a real struggle in my life. When I was in high school, if you had been with me, in grade 10, oh my gosh, the memory I have from delivering a presentation grade 10, I had this silly idea of teaching CPR to my classmates for a presentation. And I'll never forget it to this day because I picked my best friend to act as my mannequin or my dummy, and his name was Ben. And I don't know about you, but great, grade 10, two boys, it was awkward. And it was even worse because as I tried to deliver the training, so to speak, I lost all the saliva in my mouth. And I just couldn't deliver the training appropriately. And even worse, it got super awkward as I was trying to move my best friend around on the ground there. It was just awkward. And it was even worse because afterwards, the jokes, the ridicule that I got from my other classmates just made it super uncomfortable. But after that experience, I made a decision. I decided I was never going to let public speaking really get in my way, and I really want to overcome the fear, so to speak, right? So for me, I also knew that public speaking would open up so many doors in regards to what's possible in life, right? And over the years, I've probably attended about 9.5 public speaking workshops. But the thing is, during my time of training, I've also come to realize that my vision and mission in life is to really raise the standards of training in Australia. And as part of that, though, I realized that only people that go through my train the trainer courses actually get access to my content, which is, logical, of course. So I thought, I know I have to create a way for people to access the information in a book format. All right. Now, also as part of that, many people were buying the book and I was getting great feedback, which is pretty cool, right? But I realized that if people really want to get massive value from the book, we really need to do a live event so that people could really embody the skills and take away the skills so they got the transformation. Everyone drop a T for transformation in the chat box there for me, please. Because it's not just about knowing the knowledge, it's about applying it as well. Beautiful. Dropping the T's in the chat. T's in the chat. Awesome. So on that note, one thing that we need to be aware of, though, is that every trainer, regardless of I don't know, their current status or, their current level of experience, generally we find that everybody faces three core problems. And here's what I know after having coached and mentored trainers for the last 12 years, and I've probably worked with over 1,000 trainers. We all face three core problems. You probably want to grab a pen and write these down. So the first core problem that we all face is, how do we create massive levels of positive active engagement? Positive active engagement. How do we do that? All right. And how do we do that on demand? Now, the second thing that we generally all face as a problem is, how do we capture and hold people's attention for longer periods of time, considering that these days attention spans are going down and there are even more distractions going on? Drop a yes in the chat if you would agree with more distractions and lower attention spans. Fantastic, right? Whether it's online or face-to-face, regardless, all right? Now, the third challenge that we all face is, how do we make our content as memorable as possible, knowing that the mind of our listener, the mind of an audience member, is actually programmed, like biologically, to delete, distort, and get rid of information faster than we actually give it to people, right? So we need tools, tricks, tactics to be able to overcome those three things there. And my big promise to you is that over the next 2 days, you're going to pick up the tools to be able to create even bigger, longer, more powerful engagement with your learners and make your content as memorable as you can, so that you are able to pass on your information and your audience really capture it and run with it. All right. Now, having said that, I do want to just set up a bit of rules of engagement, so to speak, right? And you'll find these rules of engagement in your manuals on page 6, right? So what I'd love you to do is quickly turn to your rules of engagement on page 6, and I'd love you to just quietly read through them. And I'm just going to give you a moment to read through them. And once you've read through them, I'd love you to sign it down the bottom there. And some of them are a little bit funny. Some of them may challenge you a little bit. But at this course, we just want to play at 100%, knowing the more we put in, the more we're going to get out of it. So I'll just give you a moment to read through the rules of engagement, and I'm going to be quiet. Once you've read through them and you've signed it, drop an S for signed in the chat box there for me, please. Alrighty, fantastic, folks, fantastic. Alrighty, fantastic, folks. Happy to see that you agree to those rules of engagement. Now, the thing I will say is over today and tomorrow, it's not really going to be an experience of just me talking at you. It's going to be an experience of me talking with you and us actually using the tools, the tactics that are in the book, and really embracing and immersing ourselves in the models that I talk about in the book. Now, there's going to be some things that are not in the book that I'm going to be talking about, which is super exciting, and some content that has been developed over the last 2 or 3 months, which is super exciting, that has been tried and tested, that you're going to get some massive value from, right? Now, having said that, the agenda and the schedule and how we're going to play the game, so to speak, we started at 8:30, right? And tomorrow we'll start at 8:30 as well. Today we'll probably finish between 4 and 4:30, same for tomorrow. And day one, we're going to go through the fundamentals of presenting, and we're going to look at potentially changing some of your thought processes around how to present and how to present really effectively so that we can help our learners receive the information as effectively as possible. So we're going to do some things that will simplify training in a way that you maybe have never thought possible. Next one, we're going to look at some models to create instant credibility, instant connection, and influence with your audience, and much, much more. You get some steak knives as well. Number two, is more models for getting your message across and packaging your information together, and practice, and even more fun, right? So throughout today and tomorrow, we're going to focus on having a lot of fun. Drop an F for fun if you like having fun as we do training. Love it, folks. Excellent. So as I said, it's all about embracing the learning and immersing ourselves in the skills. Now, the thing I will say about today and tomorrow is that all of you probably already have some great structures that you use for training and presenting and running workshops. All right, fair enough. But the thing is, over today and tomorrow, I'm going to give you some puzzle pieces that you'll be able to add in to what you're already doing to make it even stronger. Everyone drop a P for puzzle pieces in the chat box there for me, if you could, please, all right? And I will say that not everything I teach you, you will do verbatim. Not everything I teach you, you're going to use every single time you present. But you may go, oh, that model, I love that one. I'm going to add that one into my session next Tuesday. Or that one, oh, I really like and I could see how I would use that in my own sessions, right? So I'm going to give you a lot of puzzle pieces that you'll be able to put together to create an amazing experience. The other thing I will say is that in this course, you will learn two ways. You're going to learn from watching me and how I deliver the training, but also number two, is you're going to learn through the content that I teach you and using the content yourself. Everyone, drop a 2 for 2 ways in the chat box there for me, if you could, please. Awesome. Fantastic, folks. Now, here's the deal, folks. I know some assumptions about you. I just want to make some healthy assumptions about you, right? Probably you have read my book or are considering reading it. All right, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. That's all good. Number two, you're a trainer that has delivered or facilitated training previously. And if you haven't, that's okay. That'll work too. Number three, you are a trainer who is committed to wanting the best results for you and your learners, and you're curious about how to make that happen. All right, great place to be. You're someone that's looking to get better at public speaking in some way, shape, or form. Now, I define public speaking as speaking in front of humans, right? Not animals, right? So I may use public speaking, presenting, facilitating, training synonymously, or all to mean the same thing. So don't get too hung up on the word that I use at the time. I know this is called the Workshop Facilitation Mastery course, but public speaking, presenting, facilitating, we're just going to wrap them all up in one bow over the next 2 days, if that's okay with everyone. You're willing to put in 100% over the next 2 days. Drop a yes in the chat if any of those assumptions are correct about you. Fantastic, folks. Fantastic, fantastic. All right. So on that note, let's go ahead and take our first break for the day. Let's go ahead and take our first break for the day. So by my clock, it's now blah, blah time. And I'd love to come back in probably about 10 minutes. And we're going to jump into the content. We're going to jump into what I call empowering beliefs for great trainers, presenters, and facilitators. On that note, let's come back at 9:40, folks. Back at 9:40. Fantastic, fantastic. Awesome, folks. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Go ahead, drop a P in the chat box if you could, please. Let me know that you're present, ready to go, ready to rock and roll, ready to have your mind expanded there, folks. Excellent, great to see those P's. Fantastic. So, on that note, we want to have a chat about empowering beliefs as trainers and presenters. And for this section here, we're going to head to page 9 of our manuals. Page 9 of our manuals. Now, in our manuals, we're going to jump in and out of the manuals, and basically they're a place to consolidate our thoughts and work on things as we come to various sections there, right? So it's a workbook, so to speak. It's not really a complete document, but it's a place that you're going to note your thoughts there, right? So first topic we're going to talk about is empowering beliefs, and you want to grab page 9 there in your manuals. And you may want to fill them out as I discuss them there. Now, the thing is, as I said earlier, for me, public speaking was never really a great cup of tea, right? It really was something I really struggled with. And back in 2009, as I said, I went along to that public speaking course, all right? And a lot of people actually didn't make it through the course. And they pulled out, 2 or 3 days in or 5 days in. They just couldn't survive the journey. But the trainer, he mentioned these empowering beliefs on day 2.5. And these empowering beliefs really transformed my thinking and helped me get through the event. All right. It took some resilience, but it took these empowering beliefs, right? So you may want to grab a pen and write these down. So on page 9 there, the first one there is, there is no such thing as a perfect presentation. There is no such thing as a perfect presentation. All right. Everyone, drop a P for perfect in the chat box there for me, please. Right. There is no such thing as a perfect one. And what we need to appreciate is that the more we chase perfection, the more we head to our head and the less we actually connect with our audience. Right. So there's no such thing as a perfect one. What the perfect one is the one that comes from the heart. All right. So when we're coming from the heart, we are giving a message that lands on the heart of our audience there, right? So, number 2, Every presentation is practice for the next. Every presentation is practice for the next. And what this means is that there's no such thing as a perfect one. Every time we present, we are just looking to get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. All right. And last time, when I was running this content for another audience, I was practicing for this event. And this event, I'll be practicing for my next one and my next one and my next one, right? Every presentation is practice for the next. Number three. Now, number three is definitely one that had a huge impact on me, which is the more I present, the more confident I get. The more I present, the more confident I get. So you go ahead and fill that one out there. The more I present, the more confident I get. And this is an interesting idea, but confidence, as we all know, comes from doing the thing, not thinking about the thing. So we don't get confident by thinking about riding a horse. We actually get confident by getting on the horse and riding it. All right. So in the case of public speaking, same deal. We get confident by doing the thing. And as a result, we can actually attach the idea that we're going to grow, we're going to expand, and public speaking is a good thing to help us do that, which is fantastic, right? Now, the last one, number four there, it's one that I kind of added, which is feedback is my competitive advantage. Feedback is my competitive advantage. I'll just give you a moment to write that down. Everyone drop an F for feedback into the chat box there for me, if you could, please. Drop an F for feedback. Fantastic, fantastic. All right. So essentially, not all feedback is valuable, yet I've just noticed that great trainers, presenters, and facilitators are able to look at feedback and go, okay, what's the value in that? And also they're able to strategically reflect and go, okay, cool. What didn't work last time and how can I make it even better next time, right? So empowering beliefs, feedback makes you ahead of the rest and allows you to be the standout trainer because you're willing to grow more than other people. So on that note, what I'd love you to do is drop in the chat which empowering belief really resonates with you. Number one, number two, number three, number four, which one is it for you? Fantastic. Love it, team. We got twos, we got threes, we got fours. Excellent. Love it. Really, really cool. So on that note, the next thing we're going to have a chat about is getting over your nerves. Getting over your nerves, right? And the thing is, nerves are an interesting thing. And inside my book, I talk a lot about getting over your nerves. There's an entire chapter on it. But we do need to address it here up front because we are in an environment and we're with some people that we haven't really met before. And anytime we go into a new environment, our nerves are going to kick in, right? So number one there is don't fight biology. It will happen, okay? So whenever you're in a new learning environment or new space, you are actually going to find that your body actually releases some hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And when they come together, you're going to feel a little bit anxious. But it's part of the show, folks. Number one, don't fight the biology. It will happen. Number two is label it appropriately. And one of my mentors once said, great experts, they just have a different way of labeling things. And he said, instead of labeling something as anxious or anxiety, label it as something like expansion. And I thought that's a pretty cool way to think about it because after you deliver a presentation, generally you find your identity has expanded. Number three is walk, breathe, and ask the question. All right. So the magic question is, and you may want to grab a pen and write this down, totally up to you. The magic question is, what is the biggest challenge or consequence? What is the biggest challenge or consequence that this audience will face if they don't hear and act on my message? I'll say it again. What is the biggest challenge? What is the biggest challenge or consequence that this audience will face if they don't hear and act on my message? All right. So what is the biggest challenge or consequence that this audience will face if they don't hear and act on my message? Now, I absolutely love that question because it really takes me from focusing on myself to focusing on my audience and the challenges they may be facing and the urgency of delivering the message I'm about to share with them. Drop a yes in the chat if you like that question there. What's the biggest challenge or consequence this audience will face if they don't hear and act on the message I'm about to share with them? Fantastic, fantastic. So, we've got one, two, and three there. Drop in the chat. Which one really resonated with you? Which one do you love? Which one did you connect with? Number one, don't fight the biology. It will happen. Number two, label it appropriately. Number three is your magic question there. Excellent, folks. And if you want more information about that, check out the book. And there's an entire chapter on getting over your nerves. Now, not yet, but in a moment, we're going to do a quick activity, and it's going to warm us up, so to speak, for our training and our presenting today. And it's going to give us the skills to potentially, I don't know, roll with unexpected things that might happen in a training environment. So what I'd love you to do, drop a yes in the chat if you think potentially some things could go wrong that may be unexpected. Drop a yes in the chat if you'd agree with that. Excellent, right? So one of the activities I love to do, just to get me in that mindset, is to play a little bit of the game of the unexpected. So on that note, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to get Dan and Craig to help me out for a moment. And I'd love you guys to unmute yourselves. And not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to start telling a story. And I'm going to pause, and Craig's going to give me the first word that comes to mind. I'm going to keep telling my story. Then Dan's going to give me the next word that comes to mind. So let's kick it off. And I'm probably going to go for about a minute, minute and a half. Excellent. And for this activity, I'm actually going to come back to that and come back to that. So on that note, 3 weeks ago, I went to I went to Greece. Now, Greece is a very unusual country because it's got so many. Dan. Excellent. It's got so many rabbits. Now, rabbits are really unusual because rabbits love to eat. Oh, they certainly do. They love to eat souvlaki in Greece. Now, souvlaki is really, really interesting because when you eat it, you absolutely do. You feel like you could bounce up and down like a rabbit. Now, in Greece, the more you bounce up and down, the more you're able to. Beautiful. And alrighty, folks, go ahead. Everyone drop an AJ in the chat there for Craig and Dan. Drop an AJ in the chat for Craig and Dan. Beautiful, right? So we need to appreciate, as a trainer, presenter, facilitator, we need to develop the skill, the muscle to be able to think on our feet. So not yet, but in a moment, you're actually going to do this activity in pairs, right? And you're going to head to a breakout room, and you're going to first person is going to start telling their story. So 3 weeks ago, I went to, and you're going to get the person to give them the first word that comes to mind. And then you're going to continue telling your story. Next word, continue telling your story, right? And you can make it as crazy and as fun as you would love to make it. And after about a minute and a half, I'm going to bring you guys back and have a little bit of a debrief, and then I'll send you back into your room and the other person will have a go. 3 weeks ago, I went to, and you're going to build your story. So on that note, let's head to our breakout rooms. But before you go, the first person with the first letter of their first name in the alphabet is going first. On that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about a minute. Start telling your story. 3 weeks ago, I went to, and then wait for the person to give you the first word to play with. On that note, folks, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back very shortly. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm just going to go ahead and close that for now. Folks, drop in the chat. What did you discover? What did you realize as you went through that activity? What did you discover? What did you realize? Awesome. Love it. Love it. Well done. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes we need to be able to roll with whatever comes at us and be able to turn it into a learning moment. The other thing that we always want to think about is how do we make sure that we create an environment where we don't panic, we stay solid, we stay grounded, and we're able to work with whatever comes at us and building up that self trust to know that we absolutely can do that. All right. It's a really, really important skill. And drop a V for value. If you got some value from that activity, excellent. Love it. Great to see there. Right. So, next thing we need to think about is ultimately with facilitating and training one thing that we really want to think about is that a presentation or a workshop is not necessarily just a script that we run through or an entire like dribble of words, so to speak. What we need to appreciate is that a great presentation or great workshop is made up of many little presentations that are all put together. And I call these pillars. Everyone drop a P for pillar into the chat box there for me, please. Drop a P for pillar in the chat. Excellent. Love it, right? So we need to appreciate all pros follow a formula, and all presentations are just made up of many little pillars. As a presenter, you simply string your content together using various types of structures. Once you know the structures, you can put together your artistic masterpiece, right? So the thing is, some of the core outcomes that you're going to get from this workshop are, it's going to position you as the expert and learn how to do it with ease, right? Present with confidence, walk away with multiple structures to deliver your content, to do delivery your content in a memorable fashion, plan and deliver an engaging manner, have confidence, poise, and deep connection with your audience, and be able to create transformation in small and even large groups. Stack the deck in your favor by effectively working with the personalities in the room, and something I'm really excited about teaching you later on tomorrow around the personality side of things. So, having said all of that, we need to appreciate that when we present, energy is kind of important. Everyone, drop an E for energy into the chat box there for me, please. Drop an E for energy. Excellent, right? And drop a yes in the chat if you would agree that it's kind of important for us to be maybe a little bit passionate about our topic if we want our audience to actually feel interested or excited about the topic. Drop a E for energy if you would agree with that. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So, on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and stop that for a moment, right? And what we want to think about is passion. Passion. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly model something for you. And I'm going to talk about something I'm a little bit passionate about, which is martial arts, all right? So, I'm going to give myself about 30 seconds and I'm simply going to tell you about something I absolutely love, right? And that's all you need to do is just sit there, listen. Sit there and listen. That's all you need to do. And I think you'll be great at that. So let's go 30 seconds and let's kick it off. Hi, folks. Today I want to talk to you about something I'm really, really passionate about, which is martial arts. Now, I do martial arts, Arakan martial arts, twice a week, maybe sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes too often. And for me, I generally do it on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I really like it because it's fun, it's active, it's just one-on-one, it's a practical skill, and I get to do it with just my instructor. We have a great time, and I learn lots of things, and I can go away and feel more confident if I need to. Alrighty, folks, that was 39 seconds, and that was something I'm a little bit passionate about, right? So, not yet, but in a moment, you're going to do a breakout room. And what I would love you to do is tell your partner you're going to have 30 seconds, and I'd love you to tell them about one thing that you're pretty passionate about, that you really enjoy. Could be anything at all. And it's not really a discussion, it's more just you talking to your partner. Hi, one thing I'm really passionate about is blah, blah, and just speak for 30 seconds about what it is and why you love it. All right, what it is and why you love it. And then after 30 seconds. You're going to swap over to the other person. They're going to tell you something they absolutely love and something they're really, really passionate about. And when each person is talking, the other person is going to be timing. All right. So once 30 seconds is up, then just swap over to the other person. And I'll bring everybody back in about a minute, minute and a half, and that would be great. So on the note, head to your rooms and you'll be with a different person. Head to your rooms and share something that you're really, really passionate about. Go for it, team. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Go ahead, drop a yes in the chat if your partner was pretty passionate. Drop a yes in the chat if your partner was passionate. Love it, folks. Well done. Well done. Well done. Alrighty. So we need to appreciate them. It's not just about us being passionate, it's also about being able to transfer that knowledge and be convicted in our knowledge as well. And when I mean convicted, I mean being as passionate about the topic as you can be so that the other person catches your enthusiasm and goes away and uses the information you share with them, right? So I define conviction as you are very committed to somebody actually hearing the information and using the information you're going to share with them. Okay. So So it's really important that we are able to connect with our learner or our participant or our member of our group, so to speak, right? So not yet, but in a moment, we want to add some things into our delivery to make it even more convincing, even more connected for the group there, right? So we're going to add some pieces to our puzzle. All right, so let's come over to our slides for just a moment here. And the next slide I would love to show you is essentially a couple of extra things that we can add in. All right. So we're going to add in a have you ever, an origin story, and a three reasons. Okay. Now, let me give you my martial arts story, but I'm going to add in these core components. All right. And the three reasons is going to start to tap into the rule of three. And anytime we can give our audience members information in a chunk of three, they absolutely love it. All right. So let's jump into it. Hi, folks. Today I want to talk to you about martial arts. But before I get into it, I just want to ask you a quick question. Have you ever been out at night, maybe in the city or maybe even the suburbs, and you've been a little bit worried about how you would protect yourself if some people were around you that you didn't feel comfortable with? Or have you ever felt a little bit unable to assert yourself at work and not being sure how to speak up? Well, today I want to talk to you about martial arts. For me, this was something that really caught my attention because I had many times when I just felt a little bit shy. And also, I felt a little bit stressed when I was out and I was with my family. And I always just had doubts if I could actually protect myself or protect other people. So it's probably about 7 years ago, I actually took up Arakan martial arts. And over 7 years, I've done it and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, there's three reasons why I absolutely love Arakan martial arts. Number one, it's one-on-one. So I always get that attention that I really crave. Number two, it's super practical and it's super enjoyable. And the third is I always walk away feeling empowered and I feel like, wow, I could conquer a new universe if that makes sense. All right. Thanks so much, team. That's something I absolutely am passionate about. All right, folks. So that was probably about 45 seconds, 50 seconds there. But drop in the chat, how did I start out that little segment there? What did I do in the beginning? I asked you a what, folks? Drop in the chat. I asked you a question. Absolutely. And I took you into the problem. Then I told you a little bit about my origin story, why I started the thing. And then I told you the 3 reasons as to why I love the thing. So, not yet, but in a moment, what I would love you to do is you're going to head back into a breakout room. And I would love you to simply follow this formula. And I'd love you to share the same thing, but different person. You can share the same thing. And I'd love you to follow the formula. So, hi, how you going? Today, I'd love to tell you about something I'm really passionate about, which is cooking muffins. All right. Have you ever, just before I do that, I'd love to ask you a quick question. Have you ever been to a coffee shop and had a muffin that you just absolutely loved, and you just want to be able to make yourself? Awesome. Drop a yes in chat if you ever had that. Fantastic. Well, for me, I actually had that same experience, and I got into muffin making 3 years ago, and it is something I just absolutely love to do. So every Sunday, I make magical muffins. Just absolutely love to do it. Now, the 3 reasons I love to do it is this, this, and this. Thank you. All right. So that's all you're going to do. And all we're stepping into is the world of asking a question, and then we're going to drop in the 3 reasons at the end there why we love the thing, just to step into the world of the rule of 3. Because great trainers, presenters, facilitators speak in chunks, and they speak in layers of content, not necessarily waffles, if that makes sense. Everyone drop a P for pancakes in the chat box there for me, please. Fantastic, right? So first of all, we're going to jump into a breakout room, and we're going to follow our pattern here. And I'm actually going to project this into the breakout room so you'll be able to see it, and you'll be able to do that. So on that note, in your group, you can decide whoever's going first. Have you today, I want to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about. Have you ever blah, blah? And I got into it because blah, blah, blah. 3 reasons I love it are because blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. And thank you. On that note, head to your rooms, and I'll bring you back in probably about 2 minutes. That should be enough time. 1 minute each. On that note, see you very shortly. Alrighty, welcome back, team. Welcome back, welcome back. If your partner did a great job, drop a yes in the chat for me, please. Drop a yes in the chat. Excellent. Love it, rather. Love it. Alrighty, so now what I'd love you to do, drop a 3 for rule of 3 in the chat box there for me, please. All right, excellent. So now what we're going to do, we're actually going to turn to page 11 in our manual, page 11 in our manual. And what I would love you to do is page 11, down the bottom there, it says example 2. And I would love you to fill this out, the 3 reasons why you love something. But if you could pick something like that aligns to your vocation or your topic of profession. So if you could pick something like, I don't know, leadership or safety. If you love safety, great. If you love leadership, great. If you love the world of body language, great. The 3 reasons you love it. The 3 reasons you love hypnosis. The 3 reasons you love, I don't know, personality profiling. It could be anything at all. Just write down the 3 reasons you love it. And I'll give you about 30 seconds to just write those 3 reasons down. All righty. And once you're done on that, just drop a D in the chat box there for me, if you could, please. Awesome. Fantastic. So not yet, but in a moment, you're actually going to head to a breakout room. And what I would love you to do, you're going to follow the same formula. And I would love you to follow the formula based on the thing that you are passionate about in regards to your profession. So if it's leadership, it's going to be, hi, folks, I want to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about. And that is the topic of leadership. Before I get into it, though, I've got a quick question for you. Have you ever worked for a truly amazing leader in a workplace, or even a leader that left you dreading going to work? Raise your hand if you've ever been come across a leader like that. Fantastic. Well, I actually got into leadership and the study of it probably about 12 years ago when I had one of those exact leaders. And they just made me ferociously curious about what a good leader looks like, sounds like, right? And three reasons I love leadership are: number one, it helps you become a really powerful individual and be able to show up powerfully for others. Second, it really helps you also navigate your own life better as you apply some of the concepts. Third reason I absolutely love leadership is that ultimately leadership is everything in life, right? And everything will rise and fall on your level of leadership that you're willing to step into. So those are three reasons I absolutely love leadership. Thank you. All right. That was a bit of a mini episode. So on that note, you're going to head to a breakout room and you're simply going to follow the formula and share with another person the thing that you're passionate about and why you are passionate. On that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about a minute, minute and a half. The person that's not talking is just going to sit there and time the other person. And when a minute is up, or when they've finished following the formula, then swap over to the other person. Excellent, 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 team. Fantastic. Drop a GJ in the chat if your partner did a great job. If they did a great job, excellent. Love it, team. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alrighty, so on that note, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break and reset our brains and our bodies before we head into the next section there, or the next pillar. All right. Alrighty, welcome back, team. Welcome back, welcome back. So now we're going to head into the next pillar, so to speak, or the next frame that we're going to build out. Now, the next frame that we're going to look at is called the top 3 mistakes pillar. The top 3 mistakes pillar. Now, we need to appreciate that if we want to become the credible expert in the mind of the listener, one really quick and fast way to do that is to show that we've maybe walked a journey or we've researched a topic a little bit more than other people have, right? So a really quick and easy way to do that is to talk about the top 3 mistakes that people make in a particular area. So let me just come back to here for just a moment. And this is what it would sound like. Hi, folks. Today, I want to talk to you about something which I'm really passionate about, which is that of leadership. Before I get into that, I'd like to talk to you about the top 3 mistakes that people make in the areas of leadership. Number one, they actually are unwilling to look in the mirror and examine their own patterns. And they will often blame their team as opposed to looking at their own patterns. The second mistake that we often see with leaders is that they will often blame the marketplace for the conditions and for the result that they get. And the third big mistake that we see with leaders is that they will often fall into one of 2 categories. They'll be narcissists, or they'll be super timid and they won't have the courage to step up and take charge, right? Or as part of that, they may over delegate. All right. So the narcissist and over timid, they're going to have some symptoms that come from that. All right. So let's just recap top 3 mistakes. Number 1, they will blame the team. Number 2, they'll blame the marketplace. Number 3, they'll either be too narcissistic or too timid, and then symptoms will flow from that. So those are the top 3 mistakes that we see in the world of leadership. Thanks so much, team. All right, folks. So those are the top 3 mistakes. Now, I just thought of those on the spot. But what I'd love you to do is on page 12 in your manual there, page 12 in your manual, you will find a page that's got a space for you to write down the top 3 mistakes that you see people make in your industry. And I'd love you to grab a pen, and I'm going to give you probably about maybe 2 minutes. Shouldn't take you that long. Just write down top 3 mistakes that you see people make in your industry, in the world of safety or in the world of hypnosis or in the world of even self-coaching or in the world of traveling through life in general, if that makes sense. On that note, folks, over to you. 1 minute, go ahead and fill out page 12 for me. Awesome. Well done. So we're going to practice that little pillar there, so to speak. It's going to be a very quick pillar though. And it's going to be, hi, how you going today? I want to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about, which is blah, blah. And before I go into that though, I'd love to tell you about the top 3 mistakes that we see people make in the area of blah, blah. And mistake number 1 is blah, number 2, blah, and number 3 is blah. And then the other person will say, great job, thank you. And then you just swap over to the other person. So it's not too complicated. You're just going to read through your mistakes and explain them a little bit. And I'll probably give you about a minute to do that. Then swap over to the other person and try and fill out the minute if you truly can. So on that note, head to your breakout rooms and one person will go first, the other person will go next and try and speak for the entire minute. One person is speaking, the other person is just listening, and then time them. And then once the person's done, swap over. If that's clear for you, drop a C in the chat. Excellent, folks. Excellent. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. So on that note, drop in the chat. What is one thing that your partner did really well in that activity? Drop in the chat what's one thing they did really, really well. Maybe they had great examples. Maybe they had great pace. Maybe great tonality. Maybe great confidence. Drop in the chat what they have. Love it, team. Well done. Well done. Awesome. So now let's have even more fun. So we're going to come back and now we're going to take it to the next level. As I said, we're going to layer in these skills, folks. And we are now going to come to our first little mini presentation. And what you're going to do is you're going to put together what we've just done, so to speak. You're going to say your name. Hi, my name is Mark Miles. Something I'm really passionate about is fishing. And before we get into fishing, though, and me telling you about, I'd love to tell you the top 3 mistakes that people make about fishing or when they fish. Mistake number 1, mistake number 2, mistake number 3. Now, I first got into fishing probably about 21 years ago when my grandfather took me out to fish. And we used to spend a lot of time together. We used to do the old fishing and he'd catch fish, I'd catch fish, we'd have a lot of fun. Now, 3 reasons I absolutely love fishing are this blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. And for me, I absolutely love to fish. And I am dedicated to ultimately equipping and empowering people to go out there and catch as much fish as humanly possible, right? So notice what we put in there at the very end. We put in a dedication. Now, anytime that we can say we're dedicated to something or creating a vision for the change that we want to create in the world, we touch, move, and inspire our audience to be part of that vision. So we're going to add a dedication in there, right? So not yet, but we're going to do a breakout room. Now, this little presentation here probably will take you about 3 minutes if you do it properly, okay? So on that note, I'm going to give you 3 minutes apiece. We're going to go in for 3 minutes. Person's going to speak for 3 minutes. Then I'm going to bring you back and your partner's going to drop in the chat what's one thing you did extremely well. And then we're going to go back into the rooms and you're going to swap over and it's going to be the other person's turn. They're going to talk for approximately 2 to 3 minutes there, right? Now, if they don't hit the 3 minutes, I'm not fussed, but I'm going to give you the 3 minutes to fully get into it as much as you can. But the key thing that I'm really looking for and your partner will be looking for is the rule of 3 as much as possible. Everyone drop a 3 in the chat, drop a 3 in the chat. Beautiful, right? Excellent. So let's get to it, folks. Whoever wants to go first in your little partnership can go first. On that note, I'll see you back very shortly. Let's jump into it and I'll project this to the breakout rooms, of course, as well. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Go ahead, drop in the chat what's one thing your partner did extremely effectively and really stood out to you. Excellent. We got a bit of creativity. Excellent. Love it. The poise, the confidence. Love it. All right. Great to see you, folks. So let's head back in. It's the other person's turn. 3 minutes. They're going to deliver their content. It's going to be amazing. And we're going to follow the structure. On that note, head in and I'll bring you back in 3 minutes' time. And if you have more time up your sleeve, you finish talking, the other person can absolutely ask you questions. That's cool as well. So if they've got questions around the topic, they can absolutely ask the questions there. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. So go ahead, drop in the chat. Drop in the chat. What are you discovering? What have you realized so far as we've been through some of these activities? What's really standing out to you so far? What's some of your key learnings? Drop in the chat. What's one of your key learnings so far? What are you discovering? Excellent. Love it. Nice to see. Well done. Awesome. What else you got, team, there? Drop in the chat. Awesome. Love it. Alrighty, folks. So what we're going to do, not yet, but in a moment, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to have a 15-minute break and we're going to come back at 10:30. And what I'd love you to do, drop in the chat at 10:30, just so I know that you got that. And we'll be ready to rock and roll back at 10:30. When we come back, we are going to look at a brand new model that I put together around training and ultimately the moment of influence. On that note, and also reasons why people say yes to training and why they say no to new knowledge. On that note, folks, head to your break and I'll bring you back or we'll come back at 10:30. Thanks, team.